Anyway, speaking of which,
campfire too.
Mr. Coopersmith, thank you so much for joining me at my very lovely, very real campfire that we got special permission from the fire marshal of the city of Boston to have indoors at this very crowded event. Anyway, how's your inbound, first of all? And then tell anybody at home watching who you are, what you do at HubSpot, and kind of what you're sort of behind over there.
Yep. Yeah. So don't get burnt here. We're a little close.
I'm not. Yeah.
Make sure that
real flames.
Yep. So want to be careful on that front. So inbound so far, Max, has been absolutely awesome. I don't know about you, but like this is my favorite week of the year. Pretty much every year.
It's our Super Bowl. It's our summer camp. It's our family reunion. It's everything.
Summer camp. Summer camp for sure.
Exactly.
Summer camp for sure. So I look forward to this all year. I absolutely love hanging with folks like you, seeing all of our partners, seeing all of our customers, see a lot of colleagues here as well. Yeah. So this is the most fun week of the year. I absolutely love everything about it. I imagine you do too.
Thriving right now.
So great. I've been totally thriving. So I've been at HubSpot. It's my 8th inbound now. So I've been at HubSpot for 8 years. Yep. I've been working on the Commerce Hub product for 3 years now.
Wow.
So I saw it from its very inception, actually, like before we went to public availability, to where we stand today. So it's been an interesting and really fun ride, and I still feel like we're in the early innings.
Yes.
So that's what I'm up to. I work on our commerce stuff.
Awesome. And we've been hanging out a lot lately.
Not enough, but yeah.
Not enough, but like, you know, there's been a very a deeply renewed interest in getting a much deeper understanding of like Commerce Hub and everything. For folks watching at home, we've got this event management app, Event Happily. I told you all about it. Big thing we're trying to tackle right now is like paid ticket sales on HubSpot. You and me have been working together tirelessly to figure out the best way of testing this stuff, right? I don't want to talk too much about that. I want to talk about Commerce Hub, right? Because last year, you guys very much starred the show. Commerce Hub moved from just being HubSpot payments as part of like HubSpot sales into its actual own hub, right? And we got that big splashy announcement last year, right? This year, we're talking a lot more about AI. Breeze is kind of taking center stage, right? But there's a lot happening with Commerce Hub, right? What are some of the most like recent things that kind of came out around Commerce Hub that like you're really stoked about? And then we'll talk about some of the stuff that's like coming in the future that maybe you want to start putting on people's radar, and we can kind of go from there.
So the first thing, first of all, how about those AI demos?
Yeah,
everything
crazy.
Like, wow, those agents are slick. So that was really cool stuff.
Yeah.
And as much as I would love the entire conference, of course, to be about Commerce Hub, I do recognize that this is a pretty wide platform that does a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But that being said, it's not like my team has been relaxing.
No, they have not been.
So we've been focusing on a few different things, Max. We've been focusing on expanding and going deeper into our billing platform. So this has been a long-running project for us. We've been doing one-time payments for a while. We've been doing subscription payments, so like the automatically charged subscriptions.
Yep.
We can now do recurring invoices. So instead of automatically charging, we're kind of like decoupling our billing and our payments platform a little bit, which is solving a lot of customer needs.
Yeah.
Excited about that. Milestone payments is another one. So like, have you ever been charged a deposit and then had payments that you had to pay afterwards? Like, probably. So that's something that we can now accommodate. And then the other biggie, and this is the thing that I'm honestly most fired up about because it was our #1 feature request for good amount of time now, is our QuickBooks integration. Not sure if you've been able to play with this yet, but
I mean, I've heard a lot of people come to me saying like, "Hey, can you use Associate to like get the QuickBooks like invoices and stuff to like sync better or something?" I can't even remember. It's like,
that's
it's
talk
interesting.
More about, by the way.
Yeah, we should. But it sounds like you guys have made some big updates to the QuickBooks integration. So because you've had one for a while, but it's different.
We have.
Give us the goods, man. What's different now?
So I never want to say never, but like I'm pretty confident in saying HubSpot is never going to be building an accounting tool.
No.
So this is something that we need to integrate with if we're going to be in the commerce space and if you're going to be able to really manage your entire go-to-market motion, both on the commerce and the customer side within HubSpot.
Yeah.
Well, you need to be able to get that data out of HubSpot and move it into your accounting system, which is always going to be the final destination. Max, I don't know about you. I'm not an accountant, but that's where everything ultimately
Accounting's boring. Let it go somewhere else.
And that's it. We're trying to keep it boring, by the way. We're trying to keep it boring in a big, big way. So here's the big new release. Beforehand, you were able to just pull your data out of HubSpot, push it into any accounting platform that you want. That is still obviously the case.
Yep.
But when it comes to us talking about allowing businesses to really save time,
yeah,
exporting and importing information isn't
That's a
absolutely
time suck.
ideal. It is
Yeah,
a time
it's
suck.
terrible.
And
Yeah.
is it going to change your entire day to day? No,
No.
but it's not ideal.
It's
So what
gonna
we're doing
stop
now.
interrupting your day to day, though. That's the thing.
And who
because-
wants to do that
No,
stuff?
no one wants to do
to do
that.
that stuff
Yeah.
either. And so now we're doing a bi-directional sync. And so we
Okay.
moved the entire infrastructure onto data sync. So if you remember HiSync back from 2019, we turned that into our integration engine. And it's remarkably simple. You have open invoice 123 within HubSpot.
Yep.
Creates open invoice 123 within QuickBooks.
Yep.
When it's paid within HubSpot, it's marked as paid within QuickBooks, and obviously vice versa. So it just syncs back and forth. And so it's the type of thing where you can empower your front office teams to get paid faster, just bill those customers that they're already working with, maintain that momentum.
Yep.
But then also move that data right over to those accounting systems so your accountants don't have to engage with those customers, don't have to follow up on those overdue invoices, and can instead focus on balancing their books and cash flow and their P&L and things like that.
But if there's a situation those accounting folks have to go create an invoice, that just comes right into HubSpot, and I can see if I'm a salesperson that happened, and it's all just in sync versus being, what was it, like a one-way push before?
One-way push before.
Oh, no. One-way push from which direction?
From QuickBooks into HubSpot.
Oh, interesting.
And so there was a period of time where it was like, all right, are you going to use HubSpot invoices? Are we going to use QuickBooks invoices? And, let's be honest, a lot of folks would go QuickBooks because that's where they're ultimately balancing their books. So it's a big unlock. And Max, I'll add one other thing, my friend. Have you ever come across someone that likes to follow up on an overdue invoice?
Yeah. Couple of them.
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
Well,
no. Missed payments, not necessarily overdue invoices.
No one likes any of that. But ultimately, the QuickBooks and those types of systems, they're actually not very good at the accounts receivable automation.
Yeah.
We are. We're really good at automation. So workflows inside and out. Create an invoice-based workflow, status open, due date is before today, boom, do whatever you want. So that's another efficiency unlock that we're really leaning into as well.
This is why I keep leaning into the idea that HubSpot is the ultimate translator for apps. It's the universal language that other apps can kind of speak when they integrate with it, because again, you point out all the things that HubSpot's really good at, right? It's automating, different sets of communication, whether it's emails or even SMS now. We do that, which is crazy. Or internal stuff like tasks, leads, all those kinds of things, right? But then pair it with the knowledge of the existence of stuff from other apps, such as invoices now getting created inside HubSpot. It's cool. If you didn't have a really great way of doing that inside of HubSpot, as long as you can represent that thing inside of HubSpot, which you can with the invoice now, that means you can use all the beautiful magical things that HubSpot's really good at, right? And it's a great example of that 1 + 1 = 3 type scenario when you take the communication and automation power of HubSpot, pair that with the I'm really good at accounting stuff features of QuickBooks, put them together, magic, ease for the users, things like that. What should people be getting really excited about when it comes to the future of Commerce Hub, right? I know you shared some things with me that I'll let you share if you want to share it, right? I know there's some specific stuff that I'm stoked about, but what should people keeping their eye out for when it comes to what's next for Commerce Hub? And
so plenty on the horizon. I don't know if I've ever said this before, but I'm actually really excited for
exclusive. We've got a Jack Coopersmith exclusive here.
I'm really excited for taxes, believe it or not. I don't know. I know, it's kind of weird. But right now, I recognize taxes are a reality. One of the only things in life that you can truly count on.
They're also super complex as hell.
Oh, brutal.
Absolutely
brutal.
Terrible.
Absolutely brutal.
I failed all my accounting classes, and I don't even really know how taxes work, to be honest, Jack.
I don't really either.
I hire a guy to do my tax returns.
That's why we're just going to let another engine plug right in and handle it.
Very cool.
So we launched line item taxes a couple of months ago. So if you're in the EU, for example, and you need to add the VAT tax, which is a lot more simple over there, you can simply do that. But if you're in the United States, there's this element of taxability. I actually do know a little bit about taxes. Taxability, state, federal, local, all of this stuff that, frankly, nobody really wants to learn that much about. That's something that we'll be addressing in the very near future.
Sick.
So in a world where you just want to calculate those taxes and call it a day, you'll be able to do so.
Nice.
So that's one thing that I'm excited about. I recognize QuickBooks is a big player in the United States, but we have a ton of folks who are outside of the United States. It's definitely easy for us to live in this little American bubble. And so Xero is the big player internationally.
Is that kind of what you see QuickBooks more internationally, like it's kind of the replacement?
QuickBooks has huge market share in the United States. Xero has huge market share internationally. What's cool about DataSync too is because we've already done so much of the work to like set up the engine behind everything. I'm obviously oversimplifying here, but we can like command find for the word QuickBooks, replace it with Xero. Add a couple of other things and like bada bing, bada boom. That is our accounting integration moving forward. And so we're going to be able to move on Xero pretty quickly, which I'm really stoked about. So that's going to be a big drive.
Wild to be in a place with DataSync, if we can pivot for a second, where now it's like we did all that hard work with PySync and like DataSync is here and it's standardizing the way that like HubSpot is integrating with other stuff, and like it all kind of culminates in like that little comment that you just made where it's just like, we did all the road work to standardize what it means to integrate HubSpot object data with another system. And now like you're sitting here saying like, now the Xero integration is going to be a snap, because like, it's just a matter of like swapping out the objects, making sure Xero's talking to it in the right way. And then like you're done because that framework's over there. It's cool to see that trickle in again to just like other parts of HubSpot that are just working together now. It's this,
and there's more too. Like, are we going to build
sync,
like a Sage W DataSync?
W DataSync.
I like it. I like it. And so, we won't be done there. Like, does our NetSuite integration? Like, are people asking for more on that front? Like, we hear some feedback on that.
Sweet.
Sage is a growing player in that market too.
Another
cool thing about DataSync, it can do a lot of the work for you with like literally zero code. If you know how to read and understand like the direction of an arrow.
You know what the words mean?
That is it. But we also obviously have APIs for a lot of our tools as well. And so whether that is like a integration, like one that Hapily would build that is more turnkey, just like start using it immediately. Or if you wanted to like open up the hood and really use our APIs to like do more on top of that, we can enable you to do that too. So we want to take you like the full mile on a lot of fronts, but if you can't do the full mile from us, like our hope is that you can get, 75% of the way. And then like lean on folks like you all and the rest of our app ecosystem.
Can we talk about like APIs and Commerce Hub a little bit? I mean, because I know like the big reason why like we see a lot of people using SaaS Happily still is because like they've built on Stripe. They want to stay on Stripe. They've built that. They don't have the same API access into like a HubSpot payments or something like that. But like, and so like you'll see them still use Stripe, and then they'll use SaaS Happily to bring that data into Stripe. Is there sort of like a future shaping up around, more complex like API access to like a lot of the Commerce Hub stuff? Is like, what should people kind of like expect the future to look like there? Or plans you have, or a general direction you're going, like Commerce Hub APIs, my dude, share what you can, hold back what you can't, but we want to hear about it.
I'd say at the highest level, we're building these tools in a pretty simple way. Frankly, we're just building CRM objects to represent commerce data. So subscription, invoice, and that's it. Now, as we've talked about, you can use our workflows, you can use our reporting, you can use our list segmentation. Another big part of objects, of course, though, are obviously APIs. So it's something that we're definitely thinking a lot about. We actually released Read APIs in March of this year, if I recall correctly. So we've started to go down that path. I think we're going to continue to go down that path. Now, it's my strong sense that we know about like 100 to 200 things that people want to do, but I bet we're gonna find about 10,000 once we start to like go down this road. And so this is one of those projects that the team is about to like really take on in a more serious way. But it's also the type of thing where it's like, what is this beast gonna do once we start to poke it a little bit? And I'd be curious your take as to what you think people would do.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. So like,
we want to open up.
Well, so you see, like, what's so interesting, right, is like, I think the SaaS companies love Stripe because like Stripe is always going to have the ultimate level of infinite flexibility because it is that like sort of end API, right? Like it is the platform.
Real quick, did you know that they literally did not spend $1 on marketing until recently on anything that was not catered towards just the developer? That was their persona. They don't do any marketing unless it's to the developer.
I mean, it makes sense why they got those developers like by the balls. But dude, I'm dying for the day where a SaaS company wants to build its billing infrastructure on HubSpot. right? And so like I'm really excited to kind of see how Commerce Hub opens up a little bit more, right? We do a lot more for like third-party app integrations to be able to build stuff on Commerce Hub. Like we're in the early stages of like trying to test that out and figure out what that looks like.
We got this.
You know, and it's like I think, you know, I'm very excited for the day that like, yeah, not only it's like we're a SaaS company using HubSpot, we can build our billing directly into, you know, into Commerce Hub, and it'll work with our APIs and like all that kind of stuff. Like I'm sure that's going to be a reality sooner rather than later, right? But I really think like, you know, I love the idea of like HubSpot app partners, but like apps running on Commerce Hub that require some sort of billing payment, you know, whatever sort of method. You're already kind of seeing us do it with like Quote Happily, where we're building HubSpot quotes, right? That can have payment links and Stripe and like all that other kind of stuff off it, which is really cool. But yeah, like I'm really like, I think there's a really bright sort of future in terms of like the way Commerce Hub intermingles with the app ecosystem, right? But
I think
yeah,
we're in
I don't know if you have any dreams around that or thoughts or future forward-looking statements or anything.
I think we're in the first inning.
We are, yeah.
First and foremost.
Still the ground floor.
And then you mentioned like apps that have some element of payments and billing. I'd argue that's like pretty much every app.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
So like there's a huge market for this. And it's something that our customers do want. So I think that we have a lot more work to do on this. And ultimately, like just from a like high level perspective, we shouldn't really care at all like where you are in the world, what you want to use for processing, what you really even want to use for billing. Ultimately, if you manage your business within HubSpot, that is how we think businesses are going to be growing in the future.
Yeah.
And so we're talking a lot during this inbound about like fast, easy, and unified. I think like the unified piece is really important. If you can just bring everything in, and I feel like that's what you all are shining at nowadays. You're happy.
Trying, man.
Like
we're just trying to get more people on HubSpot and using HubSpot and not leaving HubSpot. You know what I mean? That's the whole goal.
Stay in one place. I think that's the way that reps are going to work in the future. I think that the ones that are most efficient today and also the happiest, because let's be real, you and I have both had to straddle multiple systems many a times, and it's just easier to work in one place. And so I'd say like at the highest level, I see a tremendous amount of opportunity for partnerships because like there's commerce literally everywhere. And my hope is that as we do open up, there are a lot of folks like you all that are knocking on our door being like, how do I funnel more in? How do I funnel more in? And ultimately, like, let's not forget, that is what's best for our customer. Like having everything in one place
100%.
will help them make better decisions. Will help them be more efficient. Will help them hopefully get paid faster, save some time in their day, maybe make some more money. So
that's what all about.
That's what it's all about.
Speaking of being in one place, we can't be in one place all day. I know you got stuff to get to, man. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for everything that you're doing to like push Commerce Hub forward. I mean, it's really, you know, when we talk about people being able to like do everything on HubSpot, like that to me is like one of the big final sort of like frontiers. And really, we talked about Service Hub completing the suite. I think we completed the suite again when Commerce Hub happened, right? And all that work that you and your team are doing there is like so important. And, you know, we appreciate it. We can't wait to build on it too. And have a good rest of your inbound, man.
Appreciate you having me, man. Really this fire got a little hot. What are we doing here? Nice. Appreciate you having me. And keep pushing our app ecosystem forward. You folks are absolutely awesome.
Absolutely, man. Anytime.
You're the man.
Sick.